Back for another week.
And we're live.
We're live.
So just going to wait a few seconds in case anybody wants to join us. But I'll do a quick intro here. We have Nancy Tillberg back in the house. I've had many conversations with Nancy in the past. John and I had Nancy on about a year ago. Nancy, I believe I had you on some webinars as well prior to that, just you and I, if I remember correctly. Now, we're going to get into some interesting topics, and we were having a conversation before we went live, and that may lead us down some pretty interesting rabbit holes. You know, we're talking about embracing old stuff, getting out of old stuff, learning how to skin a squirrel, retirement, new studios, and anchors. But before we get into any of that, I'm still stuck in Costa Rica, so, you know, it's hard. Somebody's got to do it, but here I am. I'm home in 2 weeks. My wife and I have promotions lined up for fairy days and pop-up weddings. Maybe Nancy, we can talk about pop-up weddings. John's up in the Ottawa Valley, and Nancy's in the land of snow, sleet, and cold in Thunder Bay, where the weather is what we're talking about when we wear a hoodie, probably with 2 T-shirts underneath.
Are you kidding? It's T-shirt weather here.
Oh yeah. Well, no, this is T-shirt weather. So this is you know, what do you call this? Tank top weather.
I was gonna say it's been a while since I've seen Rob in a T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, when I get here, I wear sandals and I put on a tank top, and I never change. That's all I wear.
Yeah, it's the same shirt he's been wearing since he got there 5 months ago.
That's what I was
He hasn't taken it off yet.
I got 6 tank tops. My wife's like, next year when we come back, you're getting a new collection of tank tops. So I'm thinking about getting tank tops that are like mesh see-through black with neon cannabis leaves.
Watch with the mesh ones though, because when you take it off, you have all these little spots from the sun.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, and then you look like a grid in the front of your Alien Bee.
Yeah, but you can use it in a punch if you needed to have a grid. You could just take your shirt off and put it in front.
I knew you were going to say that. So. Anyways, welcome back, Nancy. It's really
Thank
good
you.
to hear you and see you and have you as another guest on our show. I like your passion, and I like your ambition when it comes to running a photography studio. You have big, lofty goals, and maybe we'll get into some of those as well. But more specifically, we're going to talk about, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them in the question box. But I think we should lead into, can I put the link in the, and share it with everybody, or just with John?
With that, what's that?
A link to
To that page?
To the landing page?
Yeah, I don't know
Because
why.
I have the site opened. I can bring the site in itself.
Yeah, do you have the link, John? Maybe we can show it, and then we'll get into this topic, and we'll ask Nancy how it went. Like, I bookmarked this link. You sent it to me many, many months ago. You said you had this promotion coming up, and I'm like, I bookmarked it, and I said, well, I'm going to get back to Nancy and bring her on. And we're going to talk about this after the fact, and that's where we are now. So
yeah, so I copy it. So what I'm going to do is I'll put it in the comments. Yeah,
that'd be cool. So
just find the comments. So you can go on about it if you want. Do you want me to open the page itself?
Yeah, can we do that, Nancy, and just show everybody, and maybe you can
absolutely.
give us
Just a landing page. It's an advertisement.
Yeah,
and I love what you did, and for many, many reasons, but I want to hear how it went for you. And you do multiple promotions that are sort of along this format. I believe you do some. Do you do some for dance schools and models and such?
Yeah, different. Those would be different anchors, though.
Same idea, though.
Yeah. So I'll tell you how my ladies' night promos came about.
Okay.
So when I opened the studio back in 2012, it was part-time studio back then, and I was really, really, really interested in doing high school seniors. I just thought that was the cat's meow, high school seniors. So I went to conventions. I tried to learn about high school senior photography. I still go to conventions to learn about that kind of thing. But as you probably know, the whole idea of high school senior is not a thing in Canada, and very, very few photographers have been able to successfully, like, no,
That's a
I didn't mean
mouthful.
to say sex. So
Yes,
can
yes,
we
you
say
did.
that on air? Yeah.
You said the S word.
Yeah. Very few photographers in Canada have been able to hone in on that. High school senior photography here is, gown, cap, rose between the teeth, diploma in one hand, and the thumbs up.
Uh-huh.
And then, girls will spend $600 on a dress and have it photographed in the driveway with an iPhone. And it's kind of sad. So after trying to get that running for a few years, I gave up and decided to start running high school modeling programs instead, which were very successful. So what we would do is we would charge a registration fee and make an activity that ran for 12 weeks, similar to going to dance lessons or to soccer. And every Monday, the girls and the guys would come for an hour and a half, and they would learn how to walk the runway, how to turn, how to pose, how to be expressive, how to sell the product that they were being asked to sell. And we would incorporate some really fun photo shoots, like yesterday's news, which is a high fashion creation made out of newspapers. And we would do parachute shoots, and we would do latex scar makeup workshops, and these programs would run all year round. It was amazing. And then COVID hit, and we continued to run with limited numbers. However, at the end of 2020, the 2021 winter season, the government again completely shut down the studio, and we took the classes online. And what we found was that high school model programs are not very much fun online because you just didn't have that same interactivity. So we finished off that, shelved it for the fall. August 5th rolls around, and I experienced a really significant hack. First, it was my email, then it was my social media, then it was my bank, my credit cards, my debit cards. Everything was affected. Social media shut me down for 8 weeks, where I couldn't post, I couldn't comment, I couldn't do anything. So I couldn't advertise because I was completely enamored with social media, thinking that was the only way that I should be out there advertising. This is what works. And as a result, I had 0 registrations for my model program. Went into a little bit of a depression because my model programs were the high point of my week. So September 2021, we had no modeling programs running. And I was actually really questioning my whole business. Like, do I just throw the keys in the garbage? If I open up again, am I going to be open for 2 weeks and then the government's going to shut me down again? Like, what's going to happen here? You're down to your last few $100, and the only thing keeping me alive was weddings, the pop-up weddings.
Yeah.
Enter my stylist. Her name's Tracy. She is probably the most creative person on the planet. Has a magnificent attitude and can take somebody with no hair and make them look like they have a full-on, hairdo. Like she is a magician. Like she really, truly is. So her and I are talking about the model program over a beer. And I said, well, maybe we can just do one-day workshops. And she says, or maybe we could just focus on women. And then I said, well, maybe we should do PD day workshops. If the schools get back in, maybe we should focus on younger children and maybe move to, Saturday workshops. And she says, what about women? And I keep talking and she keeps saying the same thing. What about women? Until finally it got into my big, thick, fat head, click, that women want to feel empowered. Now, I don't shoot boudoir. I don't like shooting boudoir. There are lots of photographers that do a really good job of that, but I don't like boudoir. So between Tracy and I, we fashioned our first ladies' night out workshop called Zombie Slayers. And the whole idea was to take latex scar makeup and really edgy Mad Max fashions and bring the ladies in and give them an experience. And we would, do a photo shoot. They'd get one complimentary 8x10 at the end of the night from the photo shoot. And you know what? If I can share my screen,
Yeah, you should.
Here for a second. I do have a few pictures. Let's see here.
It's coming. I got to ask you, in your opinion, what makes Tracy creative besides the fact that she can do cool, really good stuff with hair, which is her skill set?
She's just creative. I don't know what to say. Like, she's amazing.
It's pretty obvious, I guess, when you talk to her that she's just radiates.
She's a creative person, and she thrives on doing things that are out of the box. And
nice.
Can you see this at all?
No,
I can now. Yep.
Yeah.
There now you're in.
Can you see that?
Right now, I just see the grid of a whole bunch of pictures. You'd have to share it. If it opened up in a different screen, then you'd have to open that screen.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay.
It's almost like Zoom.
Go to share entire screen. There's a drop down menu.
Just
I think that's what you
share
meant,
screen. Share screen.
Share entire screen. Go to the drop down menu.
Entire screen.
Yeah, it's on the bottom.
Share system audio.
Only if if it's a video that has audio.
Yeah, it's not letting me do this, guys. It's graying out the share button.
Share screen. Because you got entire screen, there should be a window one and a Chrome tab or something.
Yeah.
So you should be able to find it on one of those tabs.
I never liked Zoom.
See
I
one
never
now.
liked Zoom for this reason.
Is this what you're? No, that's my screen.
Okay, let's try this. I think we got it. Boom.
There you go. I see it now.
There it is.
Okay. So that is from Zombie Slayers. One of the final pictures. Well, let's just run through a few of these and see what happens here.
Sure. I got to ask you, Zombie, was it around Halloween time or did it matter?
It was, yeah. It was a week before, and we thought we would do like a woman's empowerment workshop, and we'd be zombie slayers. And Tracy showed up with 2 suitcases full of homemade weapons.
Wow.
We had a flamethrower. We had a baseball bat wrapped with plastic barbed wire. We had little guns. We had big guns. We had pipes. We had all kinds of things. And the women would choose their weapon. And then we styled them, did their hair, did their makeup, and did the photo shoot.
So cool.
And it was super fun. This one is from Pinup.
Yeah.
And pinup, as you know, is kind of innocently sexual. There's a lot of innuendo that goes on in pinup, but it's fully clothed. A little more pinup. There's our one of our zombie slayers. More pinup. So this is a before and after from the pinup on arrival, and then a finished piece in Alberto Varga style, which had a lot of illustrative drawing along with the pinup photo itself. Same thing, another before and after. So pinup was our 3rd and 4th workshops.
So each workshop was a different theme. You had the zombie slayers, pinup. Yep. What were the other 2?
So here's another one from the zombie slayers. This was from the promo before we actually did a workshop, just kind of, playing with it. So that the dark-haired woman in the back is Tracy. And the other lady just said, yeah, I'll model for you. Let's do it.
Yeah.
This was from the actual Zombie Slayers workshop.
Nice. It almost has a steampunk feel to it.
It does a little bit, yeah. So as we've been developing these workshops, we've been adding elements. So the next one that we're going to be having is actually a steampunk ladies' night out, but it will incorporate an escape room. So we'll be playing an escape room throughout the course of the evening. Our pinup workshops are now surrounded by a game called Heartthrob, Prom Night at Heartthrob High. And we actually hand out dates. And the goal is to get the hottest prom date, and it's really fun. There's lots of innuendo there, but we've incorporated that into a game. We also did a film noir ladies' night out workshop, which was more movie style, and we wrapped that one up in a murder mystery called Bullets on Broadway. And it was super, super fun. Again, with COVID, up until this point, our numbers have been restricted. We've been restricting the workshops to 5 people. But we do plan to expand that by incorporating some systems that allow us to do hair and makeup or teach hair and makeup as opposed to actually doing it for them.
That's different.
So so it really came out of like I said, out of the model program and our conversation over beer, where Tracy was like, "What about women?" So here's what we've found so far. Registration is good. As soon as I post these, they're sold out. But women are registering because they want an experience, not because they want to buy photographs. So sales haven't been wonderful. So our talks have been around, how do we push the point home that this is a photography workshop, that we want you to have pictures, that we want you to buy an album, that we want you to put something on the wall. And what we've done to fix that is we're in the process of putting together a playbook. And the playbook also has interactive QR codes that will connect to different teaching lessons and different promos. And as we go through the workshop, we pull up a page in the playbook with a specific product. And if you order right now, that product will give you a discount. Or if you order right now, you can get 3 more workshops and get your 4th workshop free over the course of the year. Or 50% off an album if you register for 4 workshops now. So we've been incorporating these blue light specials, if you can remember the Kmart days.
I remember.
Into that to boost sales. Keeping in mind that we don't want to have to do a tremendous amount of post-production work after the fact here. So so every time we do a workshop, we have a beer and pizza debrief. What was good? What can be done better? Which components worked well? Registration worked well. Styling was good. The photography is good. Post-production, we want to scale that back a little bit. How do we sell more pictures? What products are best for which workshop? And what games are we going to play? What's the entertainment value of this? So it's been a real undertaking to try and develop it, and it's still in development, but we do have Steampunk coming up in May.
Nice.
We have Hoedown at Haytown coming up in the barn. That's going to be another Ride 'em Cowboy pinup workshop.
Yeah.
And then we have the Paparazzi, which we're going to be doing at another site location at another business.
Wow, very innovative. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to let you continue on with this. And
go ahead, ask away.
So how did the March 10th one go with pinup? Were you limited?
Yeah, it went just like the February 10th one. So February 10th and March 10th were good. The March 10th one, we incorporated the Heartthrob High game. We didn't have that in February, and it was a huge success. That game we're definitely bringing back.
So the experience is a large part of this, and I'm going to ask you. You also have an educational thing. I think it was you were saying that your makeup artist Tracy was suggesting teaching them how to do hair and makeup and what have you. Do you feel that that's an important component of? And obviously, that's part of the experience.
Yeah.
And it would seem to me, I want to learn from an expert. I'm going to learn photography, and I'm going to learn posing, and I'm going to learn all this other stuff. I'm going to learn how to do hair, makeup, and yada, yada, yada. The educational aspect of it would be, I would think, very valuable, no?
Yeah. I mean, the whole evening was designed to be women's empowerment.
Mhm.
And I think we nailed that.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that I am a photography studio that thrives on making money from my pictures.
Yeah.
Let's go there then.
So, that was the part that needed to be fixed.
Uh-huh. Have you fixed it or?
Well, I think the playbook is going to make a huge difference because we're going to
Yeah.
order 100 of these playbooks and we're going to scatter them around town. Participants will get them, so they're nice hands-on advertising.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the QR codes are cool because those will link to videos that may teach you how to do the perfect pinup eye, the perfect cat eye, if you will.
Yeah.
And just have these little tips in there, as well as products that go great with each of these themes, and then our blue light specials during the actual workshops.
And maybe I missed it, but when you do these workshops, how many women usually come to these workshops at a time?
Well, with COVID, we've been capping it at 5 because of the space limitations that we had.
Mhm.
But the hoedown at Haytown, we're looking at 12 to 15 in the barn.
Oh, okay.
And then the paparazzi, we're hoping for 12 to 15. That's an off-site location. And our steampunk, we'll probably do 6 because that's the first time that we're ever going to do an escape room.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds pretty scary.
So we want to play with that as well. And I'm not sure that one, we were going to do that one in April, but with the new studio coming up, we decided that May would be a better fit for that.
So normal times, no COVID and all, 12 to 15 would be an ideal number, correct?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Now I want to go back to this, and I want to play devil's advocate and throw some ideas and questions at you.
Mhm.
But before I do that, I'm making notes here. I got all kinds of my brain is percolating, and but I want you to share with us. You just mentioned it. You mentioned the new studio. So tell us a little bit about that, and then and why you're insanely going into this avenue. And the struggles and the challenges and what are you thinking, Nancy? But so just give us an update, please, if you don't mind.
People have said that to me. People have said that to me, especially other photographers.
It's all good though. It's meant
Yeah,
in the best light.
this whole photography thing. Well, people ask me all the time, "How are you enjoying retirement?" And yeah, I don't believe in retirement. As you probably know, I've retired from 130-year career, and I don't believe in retirement. A good friend of a doctor that I used to work with in my old job, we'd always ask him, he was in his 70s, Dr. Escott, when are you going to retire? And he'd be like, I'm not going to retire. That's a crazy concept. I love what I do. I'm going to keep doing it until I die. And he's right. He's right. That's how you live. You live by doing what you love. So I'm going to keep doing what I love. And what I love right now is photography. So
Photography and business.
And business. Yeah. That's a big part of it. I probably it's probably 60-40 business to photography.
Good ratio. Interesting.
But yeah, so my current studio is 10 years old this year. It's 680 square feet.
It's tiny.
Probably about 250 square feet is used up with administrative areas like where I'm sitting right now and storage. And it's up 3 flights of stairs with no elevator. It's a super cute little space. I really, really like it. My landlords are amazing, but I'm invisible, completely invisible unless I'm advertising. After 10 years, people still have absolutely no idea that I exist. The rent here is a really good rate. And I just, pre-COVID, I was thinking about I was toying with the idea of moving to something bigger.
Right.
And something just kind of came out of nowhere at me about a month ago. And sometimes when those opportunities, present themselves, if you don't jump on them, they're gone. And then you sit back and wonder, why didn't I jump on that when I had the chance?
Yeah.
So I tried to reach out to different photographer friends who, I feel are successful, that have retail studios, asked them what their thoughts were on it. I got a lot of different responses. My favorite response came from my friend Eric Miller in New Orleans, who said, if you don't, it's a no-brainer, Nancy. If you don't do it, I will. So I jumped on this new studio. It's 3,000 square feet. There's a big boardroom. There's a couple of bathrooms, a kitchen, 2 big shooting areas, 3 office, 1 room that's specific to a sales area, an office for myself, beautiful reception area, super cute building on a very busy street that's super trendy, and really caters to my perfect target market, my Gracie. So I'm really excited. Signed the lease and I move in May 1st.
Nice. You signed the lease this morning.
Yeah, signed the lease early this morning and we're on our way.
Are you nervous about it or excited?
Totally, yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Like photography has such a bad rap, right? It has such a bad rap of, I can't make a living doing photography. But how do people that bake cupcakes get retail spaces and make a living?
Yeah.
Well,
we're 3 people here that can prove it, that we all have a studio space, all 3 of us, and we're still making it work.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm very excited. There's going to be a lot of traffic, highly visible. I'm keeping my old studio. One, because it's a nice backup. It's a great space. And I think that there is a market in my area for other photographers who want to rent studio space.
Yep.
So you're going to rent it out?
I'm going to rent it, yeah.
With equipment?
Yeah, that'll be extra, but it'll by the hour kind of place.
Yeah,
yep, exactly. I do it where it's by the hour. I go half a day rate or a full day rate. And I've had a couple of videographers take advantage of it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to probably pick your brain then.
Cool. So you're going for visibility. You're selling out. I'm joking. You're such a capitalist. You're such a capitalist. No, I'm all for it. I mean, you're excited. My studio is very high visibility. I have 3 billboards with 2 smaller billboard signs. I'm all about capitalizing on visibility. And if you saw my studio at night, it's all lit up. And I want to get more lights. I'm just all about that, so I can appreciate where you're coming from. And I'm assuming that is the largest reason why you're jumping into that, because of that marketing strategy that you're going to tap into, the visibility. You're going to dump.
It's that and space.
Yeah. So you'll be driving into town more often.
There's definitely more driving to do. I'm hoping the price of gas goes down a bit.
Well, you can always hook up the horses.
Right? Never give up on the old-fashioned things.
Have you thought of, let's touch on pop-up weddings for a second, because and I want to talk about and throw ideas your way for your themed things that you're doing with Tracy and that. But have you thought, has it occurred to you, or is it something that, maybe that's an idea that you could do smaller pop-up weddings in the studio downtown? I don't know if we can show, but this is one of the reasons why I'm questioning your sanity, because you got such an amazing location where you live. You got this barn where you do pop-up weddings, and it's beautiful. It's one of the nicest places I have ever seen in my entire life. And I'd be pushing that crazy and doing sort of that niche. So having said that, though, is there more, do you think, something you want to do, pop-up weddings, a little more urban, maybe small elopement style pop-ups at your new studio? Or
well, this the new studio, believe it or not, has got a parkade right in behind it that's 4 stories tall, and the upper story has a beautiful view of Lake Superior and the Sleeping Giant.
Wow.
It's also half a block from Waverly Park.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a park just around the corner. And it's half a block from a place called the Urban Abbey, which has, they rent out space as well. And they have the most spectacular stained glass windows you've ever seen. So pre-COVID, I actually had the Urban Abbey rented to do some Harry Potter themed weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
and I was relegated to, just working out at the farm. But yeah, I mean, I've always thought of doing weddings in other places. So being downtown like that I think is going to be a real boost for the weddings as well. Although the barn, like you said, is amazing. I'm really pleased with how the barn has turned out. In fact, this weekend, Peter's finishing the bathroom on the main level of the barn.
Nice.
Last year, we put in septic fields, we did gardens, and
put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, but it's beautiful, and it's the number one choice for people doing a pop-up wedding. They want the barn.
All right. They love that, don't they? And so, but I'm guessing too, with the new studio, you could maybe get some massive banners and or ways with which you could promote that in town.
Exactly.
The country pop-up wedding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hope. The pop-up weddings are definitely one of the anchors to my studio. Everything about my studio is what I call boutique volume. So I try very rarely to do one-off things. I like to work with groups of people. So mini session days, fairy portrait days, pop-up weddings, elopement days, volume photography. And I like to give everything a little bit of a luxury feel. So I'm always trying to compete with myself to kick it up a notch. It's almost like a little bit of a game, right?
Yeah.
To see how can I improve on this for next time? How can I improve the experience?
Yeah. That's a good question, eh? That's a good question.
I mean, it's hard. It's a lot of work as well, but I think that's what business is in general. I don't think you could talk to any entrepreneur in any field, and I don't think anybody's going to tell you it's easy.
No, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
So
I think the visibility of the new studio will play well into the pop-up weddings.
So you talk about anchors. You mentioned it a few times, and we were talking about this before we went live. So let's go there for a second. You talk about anchors, which in my view, when I hear that term, it represents what I've always said was the Swiss Army knife. You got all these different things. Well, let's call it anchors. That's the new term, John, inspired by Nancy. Anchors.
Anchors.
Okay, we got these anchors. If you can visualize a boat that's moored, and it's got all these ropes, and it's holding it in place, so it doesn't float away and drift into shore. Each one doing its part to create this aggregate, which is a business. And how many anchors do you see? Can you kind of rhyme them off, or is it something?
Yeah. So pop-up weddings, volume sports and schools, mini sessions, model programs, which have now kind of pivoted.
So the model programs are like the zombie thing that you just talked about, zombie slayers.
Yeah.
Okay.
My model programs were what I was offering high school students up until the fall of 2021.
Yeah.
When we got hacked and simply were not able to do it. Will I be bringing it back this fall? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
so
ladies in high school will run. They'll both be kind of umbrellaed under the same thing, workshops and teaching. But that is an anchor.
It's cool.
So I like to think like a farmer. Okay. So, we got 100 chickens, right? And when you have all those eggs, you don't put them all in one basket. You put them in different baskets. And then when COVID comes along and knocks 3 of them out, your pop-up weddings keep you alive and keep the lights on.
Smart. Mini sessions is that where you do fairies, obviously?
Yeah. So we do fairies, we do Easter, we do first birthday. We're doing balloon sets. What have I got set? I got some kind of a something or other back there right now. Yeah. That picture there, that's from 2012, believe it or not. I have been photographing that girl every year, and she just ran for Miss Canada. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The 2 little fairies there, I just photographed their little brother's first birthday. Santa, can't wait to run those at the new studio. Going to put that set front and center right.
And I have that same backdrop, actually.
Yeah, that's the Kate backdrop.
Yep, I use that for my Christmas minis, not with Santa, but my normal Christmas mini family portraits.
Yeah, it's a fantastic backdrop.
It
I
is.
love it.
So your Christmas special with the new location, it sounds like it's going to be a perfect matchup.
I hope so. I hope so. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see. My crystal ball's not working after these last 2 years.
There's a good headline. My crystal ball is not working after these last 2 years. I'm writing that one down. I'm swiping it.
Okay.
My crystal ball is not working. Sorry, guys. I'm getting distracted. Well, it's true. With the COVID thing, I mean, geez, this whole pivoting thing and all of the dimensions and experiences and struggles. Anybody who's working and has a regular income, they don't understand that, what it's like running your business. And it's a completely different animal. So that idea of my crystal ball is not working after the last 2 years. That's a good one. I don't know. When do you sleep, Nancy? I mean, geez, you got so much stuff going on.
Not really. I don't really. I mean, I don't really have that much stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you will with all these plans.
Yeah, it's going to be a very structured day, I think, and it's going to require help. We'll see, who I can hire. Hire. I don't. Do you guys have staff at all?
We used to have
My
a
wife
full
and I.
time, but because of our travel and everything, we really cut out a lot of our marketing. And when you talk about anchors, the two anchors that maintain our stability are weddings, pop-up weddings, and ferries. And if I never did a full wedding again, I'd be happy. I really, really like doing the pop-up weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And we make enough money in 1 year, in 5 months, that I can knock down 4 months, 3 months, close down and leave. That's where my life is. However, we do families and headshots and commercial and whatever else comes along. But the majority of our income is those two. And I forgot what your question was.
If you had staff or not.
Okay, so we do everything ourselves. Yeah, my wife and I. We used to have a full-time employee, yeah. But, we did a lot of baby's first year, Creative Kids Club, all the others. We were so busy, 700-800 sessions a year. We were so busy that there's no way I could have managed it on our own. So you're going into staff. That's what your plans are.
Yeah, I can't do it all by myself. But I just find that right now hiring staff is not easy. It's more difficult than, again, it was pre-COVID. And this past weekend, we did a dance competition. Now, normally I would do that dance competition with 8 people. And 1 year I even did it with 11. And I find that the more people I have, the more successful it is and the more money it brings in.
Why is that?
Better customer service, better experience, better client journey, looking at the proofs, you've got someone there that can help you, as opposed to nobody's there and you're struggling looking at a folder full of dance pictures, and when you've got someone standing over your shoulder going, oh my gosh, look at how great your daughter looks. Look at how beautiful, look at how straight her leg is. That's amazing. Okay. That picture just sold.
So you're used to hiring people, obviously, and working in a team.
Yeah, but this past weekend I shot that competition. I couldn't get enough staff.
Really? How come?
So I just couldn't. I couldn't. Nobody wanted to work. All my photographers that I had in the past had one or another reason why they couldn't do it. It was a real struggle. I did the entire weekend myself, so I was there for 42 hours.
Wow.
I did 36 hours of shooting.
Wow.
I don't want to do that again. Wow, that hurt. I felt every one of my ears when I went home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
all 21 years of it.
All 21, yeah. Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. So, I'll probably start advertising very, very soon for help to see me through the days at the new studio. And then, of course, there's training, because you don't just want a warm body sitting behind a counter. You want someone who's excited about what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and who can be trained to interact with people. I think that's the biggest
Agreed.
thing right there, is how do they react? How do they interact with people?
So their attitude is important.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that that's probably the number one attribute you're looking for?
Absolutely. And in a photographer, 100%. I mean, you know yourself, if you can't make grandma smile by saying sex, grandma can be as stoic as can be, but if you pop out from behind the camera and say, grandma, say sex, she's gonna giggle every time. Every time.
So that's a challenge for you, and you obviously are fully aware of it. And I'm feeling optimistic that there's going to be some people out there, and it's just going to be a bit more of a struggle trying to find them. You're going to have to pull out all stops insofar as casting the net with which you're going to pull in these choice. People are going to. You got the new studio, so it's more accessible.
Yep.
That's going to count for something, right?
Yeah.
Somebody young who's an enthusiastic, maybe a student or a new mom who has like 20 hours a week. Does that all make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But with the right attitude. And somebody who likes you.
Yikes, you had to bring that up.
Well, I'm going to assume you're a likable person. I know you, and I'm going to say from my experience that that's very much one of the key personality characteristics that you have, and that's important. You know, you got somebody like John. I mean, John's such a pain. No, John's very enthusiastic too. And I'm the same way. I mean, you got to be that way. You got to be exciting, outgoing, enthusiastic. You got to be congenial with people. I want to go back to your membership, the pinup thing.
Yep.
I was going to say membership because that's what I'm thinking. You got these women coming in. 12 to 15 is a really good number, in my opinion. What about the idea of charging more and having like an elite section, especially when you got the new location downtown? Once a month, you have them come together for a private club, capped off at 12 to 15, $200-300 per member. You're going to share that with Tracy. You're going to bring in the bulk of it because it's mostly your gig. And it's going to have new information, some photo shoots, experiences, which is what you said they're going to like, and maybe 3 hours once a month. And the thing that they're going to like the most is the camaraderie, that bond. Is that an idea? That's what's popping into my head. I've run a mastermind meeting in my city 9-10 years ago. I had this crazy idea, and I booked out a small seminar room at a new hotel, and I told everybody, hey, I'm doing a free workshop. It's an hour-long presentation. Come on out. It's on goal setting and some exciting new stuff. I filled the room. 42 people showed up, and then I pitched my monthly membership. And it was capped off at 12, and it was a mastermind. It was like $80 a month, which probably was too low. And I sold it out, and I couldn't get rid of these guys. So that's something I did for fun. I just did it for fun. I was just like, and what got in the way for me though is like that was just before we started traveling for extended periods of time, and I eventually had to can it because I didn't know how to run it. But what do you think?
A couple of things about that. That is basically already what I do with my model program, with the high school model program. It's an exclusive membership based. You're a member of the model team. You're coming in every Monday for an hour and a half. We're teaching all of these things. I don't see women committing to that the same way, but we do have the multi-event packages where you can get 3 packages or 5 packages. Have we launched those yet? No, but it's been one of the things that we've been fleshing out as we do the post-mortem on every single workshop to see where are we going with this? How can we increase sales? How do we sell more pictures?
Post-mortem.
Yeah, also called a debrief. But it's funny that you ask about that, because there is a subscription-based photo academy that all the infrastructure has been built. It's called Shuttered In, and it's going to cater to, as like a photography club, twice a
Right.
month. Hoping to get my studio rentals out of that as well. But we're going to be focusing on the younger photographers, because a lot of the clubs right now really focus on the older people with the disposable income to buy the $5,000 camera body. That's not where I want to go. I want to focus on the younger set, the up and coming, and the people with cell phones. And, you know, let's talk about photography. Let's bring some fun back into photography. So that is a plan. I also have the Boutique Volume website running in the background, where I do workshops for professional photographers. I have toned that one back a little bit because of all the other things that I have going on, where I have to, you know, there's only so much of me to go around. I got to focus on this right now.
You have only so much time.
Yeah. True. Yeah. But yeah, as far as a membership based for the women, I'm not sure that's where they'd want to go. I don't, I think they love to have a ladies' night out and a really cool experience. I don't think they want to do it every month.
Well, I think you should entertain the idea. And if you decide, well, maybe I'll give it a shot, you sit down and write a web page sales letter outlining everything that it entails, show it to me, and I'll help you ramp it up. It's got to be expensive. It's got to be very exclusive. And it's, by the way, Dan Kennedy used to say this all the time. People are walking around with their umbilical cord in their hands looking to plug it in somewhere. We're all kind of lost looking for meaning. And this what I'm talking about, everything that you're bringing to them, the education, the experience, the photos, the camaraderie, everything is really all under the one umbrella. It's very much almost like therapy. It's therapeutic. And once people plug into that, you can even introduce some extra components to it that make it a little bit deeper. You can introduce some spirituality components to it and all sorts of other little mini things that might show up along the way. But I think it's just a reflection of a membership. And when you look at the membership model, silver, gold, platinum, well, this is like platinum plus. It's very small. And it's going to be something that's going to bring you in a lot of high profit and enjoyment. I don't know, just putting it out there. I think you should consider it, and we should talk about it down the road and see where
I don't dump any ideas. They all go into the little notebook for consideration. So
it's not an idea I could do because I'm a guy. You're in the perfect setup for it, and you got you and Tracy, and she would be one of your key players with this. And
it's funny that you bring up the spirituality thing, though, because I mean, Tracy's also a very spiritual person, as am I, and she's very much. Whereas I'm coming at it from a real business entrepreneurial perspective and wanting to provide women, an empowering experience. She comes from it from the perspective of let's really empower these women. Let's make them feel great. And she does such a tremendous job of that. And after our film noir workshop, which was supposed to end at 10 o'clock, well, at midnight, we were all still partying.
There you go.
And the last lady that left, she is not religious at all, but she knew that we were. And she was the last one to leave. And she looked at us and she said, you guys, you're doing God's work. She says, the way you make us feel between, the time we come in and the time we leave, it's just amazing. And that was probably the biggest compliment I've gotten in 10 years of photography.
Need I say more? The idea that you are a team that should be spearheading something like this, you just said it. Yep. You just proved my point. All I'm suggesting is coming up with a higher, more elevated marketing model, and you'll make some money. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making money.
Exactly.
Right.
I like it very much. Thank you.
Yep.
So think on that.
I'm right out forward with my clients. Sometimes I'll say, well, they're like, well, how can I pay for it? I'm like, well, we can do cash, we could do credit, we can do debit, I could do e-transfer. I'll do whatever I can to take your money. And they always start laughing because I tell them I'm a business. I'm here to make money. I want to do
Gold, gold
my
bars,
stuff. So I'm here to make
firstborn.
money. They understand. They laugh.
Well, it's true. And I remember a local photographer back in the 90s, he had a good answer for, or a metaphor for when people were trying to get a better deal from him. He said, think about it this way. You have a weekly or monthly paycheck from where you work. Would you be okay if they reduce that amount by a few $100s? Of course you wouldn't. Well, it's the same with me. This is how I earn my living.
Yeah.
That was a good one. So anyways, so
Yeah, no, that's a great one.
so we can talk about this down the road, but I'm excited that you're excited that you're doing new. Pretty much, you're going to be doing what you're doing, but now it's magnified, scaled up because of the new location, and you're working with a team. You're going to put together a team, which seems to be one of your biggest immediate struggles, is finding the right people. So that's a legit concern, by the way. If you ever hear Maria, she talks about her struggles with finding someone, and it's really
Now, is Maria, is she the one that opened up the studio as well, women's beauty portraits, and people told her she was crazy when she was starting?
I don't think so. Maria actually was from Pittsburgh area. Now she lives in South Carolina, I believe it is now. And she did open another studio there, but she does a whole bunch of stuff.
I must be thinking of Maggie.
Oh, maybe
I was
Maggie.
just going to say it's probably Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie, Maria. I get them confused sometimes. Yeah.
What you're doing really, really, really aligns with what Maggie's doing.
I think so too.
Maggie, she does these events, and you're doing events. And she ramps up. She's in Oakville, very high end.
Yeah.
You know, I hate saying this, but I'm from Sudbury, which is very similar to Thunder Bay.
It's blue collar.
Blue collar, lots of money.
Yep.
John, you're the same way. Blue collar,
I'm a small town.
There's lots of money, and but the idea is the same, don't you think?
Yeah. It's a mentality too. I always tell people there are people around here that have the money to spend, and they're buying pickup trucks, and they got a nice big house, and they got boats. But then you tell them your price for photography, and they go, "Oh, I can't afford that." Well, it's not really they can't afford it. It's just that I'm not a priority to them, and you just can't take offense to that. You move on to the next one.
Yeah, but I also think that the marketing really comes into play there with changing people's attitudes about photography.
Yeah,
what's important and what's valuable.
Yeah.
How do you do that one, Nancy?
Well, you know what? I don't know. Bring me back in a year, and I'll let you know if my ideas work. But I've got 21 different marketing strategies mapped out that I'm going to be using alongside social media. So, like I said, being hacked taught me that social media is not the end all be all. There are other ways to attract clients.
Yep.
And putting all your eggs into the social media basket is like handing, Mark Zuckerberg the keys to your kingdom. That's not the only way to go. So yeah, we're just going to start doing some really crazy things, including sidewalk chalk, and ask me in a year. See how it works out.
Yep. You got my mind going around in circles on different marketing things now just by listening to you. So
yeah. And I really think it's important to, to educate people that there is a difference. There is a difference. And it's a very holistic approach. You can't just go in with one ad and say, this is why photography is important. No, you've got to come at it from a whole bunch of different angles. And eventually, the people that you're interacting with are going to start to see photography as something different and something valuable.
True. Very well said.
Yeah.
And especially, if I can just throw this in there, Rob, this new Gen Z, our up and coming clients, they are very frugal.
Yeah.
They are frugal. They don't spend their money haphazardly. They spend $100 on one good quality shirt where the company guarantees that shirt for life.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, they do a lot of research about what a company is about. They
Yeah.
want authenticity. They want, you know, companies that believe in the good of mankind, you know, and social issues, and
All
it
right.
has to be authentic. And as
Yeah.
soon as there's, you know, any inauthenticity, they're gone.
Yep.
What
Um,
age group is this Gen Z?
Kids born after 1994.
Okay. So it'd be my
So
daughter.
they're roughly 25 to 30 years old right now.
Okay. Okay.
And
So they're
but they're
they're
getting married, they're
yep.
having kids. That's your next up and coming generation, and they shop very differently than
Yep.
the millennials did.
Especially if it's their money that they're using. Because I remember my 20-year-old daughter, when we used to take her shopping for school clothes, she'd come out with a whole pile of stuff saying, I want to take all this. We're like, well, you know, you're using your money, right? Like, oh, really? It's like, okay, I just need these things then. And she would put half of it away. So if it's their money, they're a lot more frugal, like you said.
Yeah.
But I think they're frugal also. What Nancy's pointing out is they have different values. They're
Very
less.
much so.
I hate to say the word. They're less consumeristic, but there's a little more layers of some sort of meaning behind their decisions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But
If-
they're also the generation that's looking at the housing market and going, wow, we're never going to be able to afford a house.
Yep.
However,
You know?
the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind is hitting us, and that's going to mean the older generation is going to help them out. There's a lot of money moving. There's that,
Mm-hmm.
for better or worse. That's an interesting observation. Now you got my brain going, Gen Z, and I would think they're the perfect demographic for pop-up weddings.
They are. They are indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're drowning in student debt.
Yeah.
They'd love to be able to afford a house, but
Mhm.
then, you know, their down payment is going to pay their $30,000 wedding.
Yeah.
So
Some
maybe
of them have been together for 8-9 years. They just can't afford a wedding.
Yeah.
they have 2 dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a golden
Okay.
retriever. Yeah.
Okay, I just for a second want to go back to what I was pitching to you about the very high end, sort of the platinum plus version of what I was suggesting to you. And the model that I popped into my brain was Marie Forleo. Have you heard of her?
No, I haven't. No.
She's like a women's coach. I've been following her for many, many years, and she's very successful doing that. I'm just going to mention that, and I'm going to throw it. I can't post in the comments, so I'm going to send this to John. I'll get John to post it in there. John,
What's
Okay.
her last name?
it's Forleo. I'm sending you guys the link if you can pop it in there. I just want you to.
Yeah,
I like looking at what other people are doing and swiping ideas and modeling sometimes the format that they're using. So she's very much she's really ramped up her business. It's crazy, and she's done women's events throughout the beginning of her business, and her business I think is about 7 or 8 years old. Very, very successful now. And she was doing like the same thing you're planning on doing, but she would do it on a more global level. So she'd say, okay, I've got this thing going on next month. It's in the Philippines or Bali, or, I got room for 20 women. It'd be like $20,000, $30,000 per person to attend. Same idea, just something to think about. I was thinking about her as I was discussing to you, Nancy, the ideas that I was pitching. So more to
So
come.
are you when you were pitching that to me, were you thinking on a grander scale than just Thunder Bay?
No, just Thunder Bay. I think there's room in any community as long as there's, enough people. Then I think there's demand for something like that. There's a vacuum, and all you got to do is create it, and the vacuum will be filled. So I like that idea. I mentioned to you guys that I had done monthly for business owners, mostly a mastermind in my town and similar. And I love the idea of memberships, and you could look at, as I mentioned, the reasons why people are walking around. They're looking to plug into something. They're really, really looking, and in a sense, you're taking on that leadership role. You're becoming the guru. You're becoming, for lack of a better word, the high priestess, sort of, to use that terminology. But it's a good thing. You're helping people, and you're getting paid. Anyways, just something to think about.
Just taking notes.
So I got to go. Lunch is calling. Then I got to go meet some people later on today. Then I got a photo shoot at sunset. That's why I got my I got my 280 200s ready to
Just
go.
bought 280 300s.
Ah, are you familiar, John?
Yep. They have the 300s. They didn't come out too long ago. Actually, they're fairly new.
Well, what? Yeah, I'm curious now.
They look a little bit like a smaller version of the 8600s. More. They don't look like the 200s. They look like the 600s. It's not the same as your 200s. They still have the 200s, but they're all. There's also the 400s that I'm looking at.
So the 300. Why did you buy the 300s, Nancy?
Came in a kit, 2 lights, enough watt seconds to power up the area that I need.
Nice.
Without giving me too much light. And they just seemed like a no-brainer. I want to get a few of the 200s as well, because they basically have the same output as the Alien B400s.
Really?
So I'm going to leave all my Alien Bs at the old studio and rent them.
Yep.
And just bring the Godox over to the new studio, try and eliminate some of the cords.
I'm looking at it on B&H, and it's AD300 Pro outdoor flash. They call it an outdoor flash. $469 US. So not cheap, but it looks really well made.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got them in yet, Nancy?
The kit is at Image Tech, which is a local photography store. It was the owner of that shop that ordered in the kit for me, but I think it comes with 2 lights, 2 reflectors, a softbox, an umbrella, and something else. It's a whole kit. It was $13.90, I believe, was the kit price with a case.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
There you go. Spending more money, I am.
Well, I haven't upgraded my lights since 2013.
You're due.
Yeah.
Totally. You're overdue.
Yeah. So, I am definitely not a gearhead. The only people that ask me what I shoot with are other photographers. But if I have to put gear into 2 spaces, I don't want to be running back and forth between the 2.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we, John and I, and the whole PhotoBuzz brand, we sanction and give you permission to go spend the money on the new gear.
Thank you.
So tell your husband that it was given permission by Rob and John. So that should make it okay.
Oh, are you kidding? If I tell him what I bought, he's going to go out and he's going to buy a chainsaw or something like that.
Oh, yeah. My wife does the same thing. Just because my name's on the front of the building doesn't mean she's got it on Facebook that she's the boss at John A. Butler Photography. So it must be true because it's on Facebook. So
you keep this away from him and hide the receipts. That's fair. It's fair.
No, he doesn't care, man. When I talk about photography, his eyes just glaze over, roll over into the back.
I always go with the attitude. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Beg for forgiveness.
Yeah, he's just happy if he's got his John Deere and a beer and can go blow some snow and cut some grass and take care of his chickens, and those things make him happy. So yeah, he
helps you with your business. So you married the right guy. He's a good man.
Very supportive. Yeah.
So, okay. Shall we call it a day?
I think we should.
We'll do a follow-up maybe in 8 months.
Yeah.
Maybe next
Christmas.
fall.
Yeah.
I would love to hear how things are going with.
I think you should get a videographer come in and do like a behind the scenes of your workshops. I think that'd be cool.
We have quite a few little video snippets already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's one on my Facebook page right now. It's a hoot, though. It's a hoot.
Good.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. It's amazing what you're up to, and I'm excited, and I hope, we're just really in the early days of your new ventures with the new locations. I'm excited to hear how it's going to evolve. Really pumped.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So, hey, next week we got Dave Union.
Okay.
You know Dave Union? I don't know why I'm saying Union. It could be Junion. It's Jun.
Oh, yeah. He makes all those great overlays, and
he's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
He's a little bit wacky, and I've interviewed him a few times. I heard of him from Sandy Pooch years ago. She said, "You got to meet Dave. You and him you're going to get along. We have, I guess, a lot in common." But I think he's a better photographer than I am by far. But you know that he has a lot of the same values that I really dig, and he's a bit of a hippie too, so he's got that going for him. But what an amazing photographer! So you know who he is, Nancy?
I do, yeah. I think I have his snow overlays. That's when I first heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got him coming up next Thursday, and we'll get Nancy back in 8 months' time to follow up. So appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate Nancy especially, and
thank you.
You too, John. Love you like a brother.
I'll come back next week too.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Thanks, Nancy.